Hi everyone, it's 10 a.m, which means it's time for another episode of SentiTalks, where we talk about all things AI. I'm Jake, I'm a Regional Sales Director at SentiOne Automate, and today I'd like to talk to you about chatbots and ROI and how chatbots can save costs and bring revenue to your business. So let's start off with what are chatbots? I know many of you will know this, but it's always useful just to go through it. But so chatbots, they are conversational tools that can be used either over text or voice across multiple channels like WhatsApp, SMS, web chats, etc. And typically these are integrated into existing stacks in your contact center like Genesys or Zendesk for agent handover. And often we also integrate far deeper into things like your CRM for personalization. And even deeper than that, sometimes, like we work with a few banks where we integrate directly into their banking system to be able to do things like check a bank account balances and so on. So when we talk about chatbots specifically in contact centers, we typically talk about three main topics. The first being agent attrition and attention. The second being customer retention and upselling. And the third is doing more with less. Today, I'm really going to focus on the bottom two, so customer retention, upselling, and doing more with less. So to start with, when we look at the customer retention and upselling, most of that really comes down to customer experience. Looking at a lot of existing chatbots that customers have right now, quite often they're decision tree style bots. So there's a question and then a group of answers that then build out and then sometimes circle back, depending. So it's not very easy to get the exact answer you're looking for. So quite often customers have issues by just feeling like they're going around in circles, not being able to find the right part of the tree and be able to find that response. I think one of the big things that people need to understand, and I think is important, is when people engage with chatbots, they really want to be able to have a very clear, concise response very quickly so they don't get frustrated, which if they get that, they'll be far happier because they can go on, get their response and get off and move on with their day. So what SentiOne has done to help that is we've introduced generative AI with best-in-class intent recognition that we utilize to be able to understand what the customer is asking and be able to pull back a response. In terms of what intent recognition is, if you say a particular phrase, our machine learning sees what that phrase is, understands what those key sentiments are, so say something like balance or agent or something like that, and then be able to give them a response based on their question rather than have a decision tree out. Around that intent recognition side, we've done 10 plus years of social media monitoring across all the different posts and messages and comments. And we analyze about 42 million every 24 hours. So we really kind of have a great understanding of kind of the way people write and be able to understand that and give them the correct response. In terms of how that works from the generative side, what we do is we link into your existing resources. So think your FAQs, think your data warehouse, think your CRM data, and we couple that with the intent recognition. So it builds a clear, simple response based on your existing resources. So it keeps it within that kind of company warehouse and be able to understand what the customer asks and give them a specific company response. So also you can do things like with deeper integrations into account balances. So we can go in, do one-time passcode, and then deliver back their account balance. Or even some kind of fun things if someone has multiple insurance products and they want to know, okay, their car insurance is £200, their home insurance is £100, and their pet insurance is £50. They can ask the AI, how much will that be? And it does a calculation to tell them that would be £350. And obviously all of this can be delivered over voice, in a voice bot, or over a text bot as well. The reason why our customers love this is because it obviously takes that stress of needing agent interaction, but also it kind of frees up those agents to be able to kind of focus on more complex issue rather than kind of very simple kind of questions that the customers often ask. Also, we see a large marked increase of NPS as well, which is obviously important because obviously if your customers are happy, they will be stickier and they'll be easier to be able to upsell your different products. So that kind of brings me on to my next point, which is doing more with less. As costs are increasing and budgets are reducing, understanding how to do more with less is becoming more and more important. When we speak to our clients, often we see when we're kind of reviewing their conversations in their contact centers, a lot of them believe up to kind of 40-50% of calls can be handled by a chatbot, which means about 40 to 50% of their calls are very simple questions that could be answered by your internal data resources. So using those kind of FAQs or using your internal data warehouse that don't really need that agent interaction. So where you can save the costs on this is obviously by reducing that time on the call, reduce those call handovers to human agents, making kind of the call target faster. So looking at that routing the customer gets. So being able to understand that customer is looking to talk to the fraud department or the mortgage department, being able to route those calls quicker so they won't have to then route round again and get passed from pillar to post. Also, it helps reducing mistakes because obviously there's sometimes human error. Within a chatbot, obviously, we use your internal data resources to be able to push back that answer as well. Another thing is obviously it is easy to scale, so you can start out with one business unit and then expand out depending on what your needs are. And obviously, a big benefit of a chatbot is they work 24/7, 365 days a year, which means when your contact center's offline, your chatbot can still answer a lot of those questions that people may have that don't need agent interaction. But if they do need agent interaction, we can then have a response and say, look, the contact center is now closed. Would you like to schedule a callback, or ask them to call back during opening hours, whatever kind of the flavor of your business is. So what does that mean from a cost saving and ROI standpoint? Typically, we see kind of a cost per call being anywhere between £1.50 to £5. Obviously, when you use a chatbot, that interaction will be significantly smaller, so maybe 6p to 12p, depending on the length of the call or the interaction with a chatbot. So obviously that cost saving there per interaction is significant. Obviously, I understand different verticals and different industries are different, so the cost per call can be significantly different depending on what industry you are. But if you think about that in terms of automation, if you can automate 30 to 40% of those calls, or even up to 50-60%, you're having a huge cost saving with no marked reduction in kind of customer experience and NPS score. You might see a significant rise as well. So let's contextualize that a bit by talking about a real life use case. We've recently been working with a large European bank. They approached us as their contact center was really overburdened with calls. So there were problems like extended wait time for customers, reduction in customer satisfaction, and the employees felt overworked because they were always dealing with angry people because they'd been on hold for ages. So the employees weren't particularly happy, which doesn't help towards kind of that point we're not kind of, I'll touch on now around kind of employee retention and attrition. So what we did was we created a voice bot that deeply integrates into their existing stack to help reduce the load on their contact center. So they typically had about 17,500 calls a day coming through to their contact center. What we then did is we made most of those calls come through to our voice bot, and then we actually handled 54% of them without agent interaction. Obviously, when we do the build the chatbots, obviously we can't say it's going to be 54 to begin with. Obviously, we need to build up and understand your specific industry. Well, not your industry, you as a customer, to be able to see what those typical questions are and help build up. So start with 20% and then gradually move up to different levels of automation, because obviously you want to make sure you're giving those customers a really good experience. This has reduced their call waiting times by about 20%, which is superb. They're really happy with that. And also has improved the core routing to the right agent to 91%. And the big thing for them was they had increased their NPS score, which was really important to them because they wanted to make sure their customers were happy. So obviously, happy customers are sticky customers, and also great for that upselling opportunity as well. And I think the key thing here is the bot is not answering all the calls. There's always going to be calls that need that agent interaction. So what the bot does is just filter that out to make sure that that they only talk to customers when they really need that human interaction for more complex cases. So it's actually been so successful, they will surely be launching an internal chatbot for their agents to help them get the right responses to questions to improve their performance. And we're also automating their IT and ticketing help desk as well to help IT be able to be able to manage cases better, be able to respond using AI to simple cases that don't need agent interaction, such as password resets and so on. So it's been kind of quite exciting. And I think that's a big thing as well when we're looking at kind of ROI and kind of cost savings, looking at it in different parts of your business as well. So often we are talking to customers purely just about that internal use case, particularly when we talk about those large enterprises that have a lot of internal resources that are kind of spread across different elements, from like SharePoint to Jira to data warehouses and so on. So it's a really good way of looking to improve kind of internal resources, not just those external use cases. But I realise I'm running out of time. So thank you so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions, please put them in the comment section, and I'll do my best to answer them. So I'll see you next time on SentiTalks. Thank you. Bye.